I'm Andrew Roth, and for my leadership development interview with the Leader Project, I chose my mother, Laura Roth, DDS, MSD, and owner of Skyline Orthodontics. She was inspired to pursue a leadership role in her field by a multitude of different reasons, and there were a lot of people throughout her life that motivated her. She worked at a private practice under somebody for 3 years and was eventually given the opportunity to purchase part of the business that she currently owns right now. She found this appealing after kind of working for somebody, seeing that they have control over their staff, they have control over how the practice is run, they can choose the hours and the days that they prefer as well. One of the most important things for her when she was kind of making this decision was that she would be practicing under the philosophy that she was taught versus buying in with somebody else and practicing under somebody else's philosophy. Sharing patients is difficult, she mentioned, as everybody has their own ideas and kind of practices that they use when working on patients, and so kind of striking a balance between that is very difficult. She wanted some independence in how she conducts her business. One of the most important and influential figures in her life was obviously her father. He owned a dental practice that was actually connected to their house in Falls City. She was inspired by his work ethic and his ownership and just how he took care of his patients. Two other very important people were instructors at the UNMC College of Dentistry. They were essentially her mentors. They took her under her wing, let her do research. She was able to work at the faculty practice on the weekends, and they acted as role models and friends throughout the whole process while she was becoming kind of her own orthodontist, becoming her own practitioner in her own business. One of the most significant challenges that she faced as a leader was actually managing employees. It's somewhat of a dynamic issue. It's not one big thing, one incident that she's ever had to do. It's a collection of even daily challenges. One example she shared with me was in the past when she had an employee who said that she was being mistreated by the staff wrongly. It turns out that there was not any probable reason. She just kind of wanted to make a scene, to have the attention, and one of my mother's biggest things that she's had to deal with was managing people who don't work well with others. She shared that she's had people who are fantastic technicians, fantastic orthodontists who do great work. However, just that they are people who create a toxic work environment, and they make it more difficult for the rest of everybody else. So another very important challenge is making the right call on letting people go. They like I mentioned, they might be extremely beneficial and useful as an employee, but if they can't work with others, it brings the entire quality of care, it brings the quality of life for those in the office, it brings the patient care quality, everything down. So making the call and letting people go, she said, was for sure one of the most significant dynamic challenges that she's faced. And as I mentioned, it's not one single issue. It's something that develops over time, and she's got to deal with it as it comes up. One of the key values and principles that guides her leadership style is the golden rule: do unto others as you would have done unto yourself. She is a big proponent of positivity within her workplace. She shared with me that she makes sure that she goes into work with a smile. She keeps a positive attitude, especially through trials and high stress situations. In her position of leadership, she's got to deal with disgruntled patients, disgruntled parents, issues with the employees, like I mentioned just a minute ago, equipment issues, IT challenges, stocking, and then of course all of the other, day in, day out challenges that come with running a business. So her biggest thing is staying positive, because she is the leader. She is essentially the role model for everybody else. So if she is positive, then everybody else kind of feels compelled to keep this positive attitude. It keeps everybody working smoothly together, and it's one of the most important things that she stressed guide her leadership. As far as decision making, when she has tough decisions to make, so she shared with me that one of the toughest decisions in general is choosing whether to let somebody go or not. Her thought process involves making a chart or a list that outlines the pros and cons and all of the possible outcomes. She shared that it is important to her to make an educated decision on something rather than doing something rash or impulsive. One of my father's biggest philosophies is when you make a decision that involves other people, you have to make a good decision and you have to make a thoughtful decision. She said letting a toxic employee go to boost morale is, has its benefits for kind of working in the team, but then she'd have to expect more out of the remaining employees to fill that temporary void caused by the loss of a coworker. So there are a lot of nuances to the issues, especially interpersonal social issues, these tough decisions that she has to make as a leader. There's a lot of nuances, so like I said, making a chart outlining the pros and cons is extremely important. She ensures effective communication within her organization by having a morning huddle every day before the patient day begins. In these, she said sometimes they'll discuss, or they will discuss how the day might go. They talk about the workflow and any specific issues that they might have throughout the day. Like I mentioned, those day in, day out challenges with IT, stocking, disgruntled patients, parents, all the work. They also have regular team meetings to discuss their goals, and in these they encourage individuals to kind of share and discuss issues and recommendations for the practice. She makes sure that she hears everybody's opinion on the workplace and the work environment, how things are going, and they do regular performance reviews as well. As far as balancing the needs of her team and her organization, she mentioned that she tries to play on the strengths of everyone. She works with her employees to find roles and positions that suit their needs, their personalities, their strengths, and that also benefit the success of the practice as a whole. She believes actually that one of the most important qualities of a successful leader is effectively giving praise with constructive criticism. She thinks it's important to find a balance between, obviously, telling people what they might have done wrong or might need to do better, but also telling them what they have done right. It's very important to her, especially tying back to her positive leadership. To develop these skills and to develop this philosophy, she reads a lot of articles, manuscripts on practice management. They kind of help give her an idea of how to manage her staff. She also shared with me that compassion and inclusivity are very important as well, especially inclusivity. She understands that there are many different roles that people play within the office, and she thinks it is important to include everybody. Like I said, with that inclusivity, it's important to include everybody because it is easy for front reception and those in the back who do more hands-on work to be kind of separated. And she does team outings and team building activities, which get everybody mingled together, help everybody see the importance in their own work and others' work, and help build an inclusive environment. Reflecting on her journey, she gave this advice to aspiring leaders. So she mentioned that she never had access to leadership courses and classes such as this one. She also mentioned that there were no practice management classes. There was no guidance in dental school about starting and running a business. Especially in dentistry, she shared that more than medicine, more often than not in medicine, dentists will have their own private practices. And so it is important to do a lot of research and know what you are getting into when you are pursuing dentistry. She thinks it's important to understand the technicalities of running a business, to take classes on the finances behind it all, and the um, working as a boss and an entrepreneur while also working as a dentist. She shared with me that she didn't know that she was going to run a practice. She had no idea this is how it was going to turn out, and she just mentioned the importance of taking the opportunity to have a leadership role in some organization and getting that early experience of being out of your comfort zone, in charge of people, so that when the time comes for you to have your own practice, you already have some experience in that sense. My mother has greatly shaped my perception of a leader throughout my life. While kind of experiencing and hearing about her journey to the position in life that she has today inspires me heavily and drives me to work hard like she did to achieve her dreams. It is because of her that I believe that leaders are compassionate, inclusive people, as I shared on the note card, that work hard to meet the needs of everyone on her team while taking advantage of the unique gifts and strengths that everybody has to fulfill a greater cause. With regard to the content that we've covered in class so far, it is clear that my mom inspires her employees and somewhat evokes their passion for their work in the same way as we talked about sparkling eyes. She has built a team of people whom she trusts, and she knows and believes that each one of them took up their role because they are passionate about orthodontics and helping people regain their confidence and be healthy orally. And she uses these team building activities and positive reinforcement to foster an enjoyable workspace atmosphere where individuality and passion can flourish.